Hey, welcome back to another Palm Mouse's video, and now that we've had a few days sit on some of the information that we've received a few days ago, let's talk a bit about them, right? As usual, the same, applies, right? And so this month we got, honestly, a lot of stuff, right? We got, what, 2 Valentine's units and, like, 3 new Kalos Roark units, so that's, like, what, 5 assembles, right? Which is, I'd say, 1 above the average. And then new Lodge unit, as usual, right? Every month, we got a new power boost for Xerneas, which is great. And then, synchroned expansions for Alder, for Liza. Then, like, Leon's coming back with the GMAX. And, obviously, the usual Paul Mouse's Day grid expansions and stuff, right? A lot of things going on happening this month. There are new units and stuff, right? So very fun times anyway. So okay, let's get into some of these then. Let's go I guess let's go bottom up, right? So start things off, Chantal probably, right? And I was actually pretty excited to see Chantal getting a grid because she was probably, again, one of the better 4-star symbols, right? But after the numbers came out, it's like, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's also not anything, like, crazy either. Also, to be fair, again, she's still fine. She's great and all. It's just that, like, we got a lot of really nice units this month. So, yeah, the thing with Chantal is, if you look at, if I could find Ghost, right? She does have some pretty good DPS. In Ghost Zone, that's like, what, 800k is definitely really nice, right? That's, it's better than some other, units that are otherwise also pretty cool too. It's just that, like, her sync does nothing, basically, which isn't, okay, that's unfair, right? It's not like nothing. Also, I do believe, like, if you want to go like full sync with her, right? It's probably a bit higher than that, anyways. But regardless, she's probably just better off used as like a full DPS build, anyways, because energy concerns on her grid and all. And she's a nice DPS. She's definitely a nice little DPS unit on the side that you could use. So yeah, that's Chantal, I guess, right? She could self-burn for the gritty buffs, which is neat. But yeah, no, she's cool. She's cool. And next, oh man, this is gonna, look, man, I don't think she's terrible. This might just look bad because, like, wow, she's like second last on this list. But again, this month has a lot of great units, right? So her being like second last here doesn't mean she's completely garbage. Right? She got some merits, but the new Valentine's Liza, unfortunately, like I just said, she's not terrible. But she has some issues, unfortunately. This unit, right? They're trying to like do like, oh, look how cool this is. It's a metronome unit, right? Metronome striker, so you'll never know what you're gonna get. Which, okay, sure, that could be fun. But on the other hand, well, you don't know what the heck you're gonna get. What if you get something bad? Right? Which is gonna happen most of the time, right? There's what, around like 20 different moves in that metronome move pool. Like what, 18, like 17 out of 18 times or whatever. I don't, like, you're gonna get something not good, right? It's gonna hit off type, and look, off type damage is it bad that you're hitting for off-type damage? In of itself, no, right? I mean, there's great, like Hugh, for example, right? He's a normal type. He hits everything off-type, yet he's still a solid damage dealer. Not too much in Togekiss's case, because her, first of all, her off-type damage is not great, right? Doesn't matter which, unless you get roll Fisher for, you know, which is basic. Like, I did like a stream like once when Berg first came out, which was like 3 hours just trying to fish for Fisher, and we couldn't get it. Like the rates for Fisher are insanely low. But that aside, right? Like outside of Fisher, all the other moves don't do that great damage. And the other thing, like damage aside, most of her kit relies on her getting super effective, right? Super countdown 9, it has to be when it's freaking super effective. Super duper effective 5, obviously it's super effective. Or passives, super powered 5, only when it's super effective, right? It's not great. It is not very great. Super countdown 9 here as well, right? It's not great. The metronome part is not great. And if you're wondering, okay, Postal, okay, whatever, who cares? All right, we're just not going to use metronome, which is sure, cool, fair, whatever, right? What if we just use her as a flying type damage dealer with you know, fly and her flying type sync? Okay, yeah, is, you know, that could still be nice, right? No. No. Do keep in mind again, this is her fly damage, and this is assuming super effective. This is assuming super effective, right? Right. All the other units generally, when they get calced, you know, on the sheet, don't assume that. But over here, Runner was nice enough to assume super effective for her, so she could get the super powered 5 extra multiplier. That's not good, man. You're saying, oh, look, man, that's like just a bit under blue. It's more than Annie Steven, Lysander. No, it's not. It's not more than Annie Steven. It's not more than Lysander. It's not even more than Holiday Skyla. Okay, it's more than Nate, but it's not even more than the Rock's Brave Bird. Because it's a 2-turn move, right? 2-turn move, so if you want like the per turn damage, divide that by 2. So what's 1.1 million? What divided by 2? That's 550,000 something, right? 550K, which would put you just above a Winona in terms of damage per turn. Which is, you know, newsflash, not very good. Not very good, man. 550K damage nowadays is honestly borderline garbage, right? It's not good at all. And also our sync is actually decent, right? Her sync is actually decent. And that's why I didn't have Chantal higher, because like otherwise, low key, if her sync wasn't good, right? So there'd be an argument that Chantal is better. I don't know, there could be. And again, do keep in mind, this is assuming these numbers are only assuming she's hitting for super effective, right? So only against flying weak stages. So if the stage is not flying weak, right? If the stage is not flying weak, it's not even this, right? It's even lower than this, because you know, get at least a 50% extra multiplier on your passive, right? So yeah, and then you got double down 5 here as well doing that. But yeah, that's only if you are hitting super effective against flying weak, which you can use that, I guess, but you know, in other places, like for example, if you're like trying to use her against like Tapu Bulu or whatever, right? Okay, you know, bar 1, bar 3. You're doing fine. Bar 2, boom, switches to like, what, Poison Weak, and everything is out the window there, right? Which again, is slightly unfortunate, but yeah. I mean, outside of the damage, there are some like nice things that she got. At least you could never run out of fly with sync quickening, assuming you sync with her, I guess, right? So theoretically, you don't have to worry about the fly count, right? And she has like stopping up, which is nice. But yeah, also she's fully self-sufficient, which is good. But you know, outside of that, Again, you don't have a lot of really great things going for this unit, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a striker, man. It's a striker that. Also, it's nice that they had the super countdown, which again, when you are hitting for super effective with fly, at least it helps with the turn, two-turn thing, two-turn issue with fly. But other than that, it's really not. It's not incredible, right? Again, I don't think she's terrible. I don't think she's a terrible unit, but she's also not great, unfortunately. All right, next, Roark. I know, it looks super. I love Elisa. I love Elisa. She's my favorite Unova character. I think, right? Yeah. One of my favorite gym leaders. I don't want to do this to her. I don't want to do this to her at all. But low key, man, Roark is cooking. Holy, in multiple aspects. All right. First of all, he got the stand fast, so like, congratulations. He's not gonna one-shot himself anymore. But also, look at this, man. What is this? Almost 1 million head smashes, and in comparison to Chantal, right? 2.3 million sync, which is, I think, even better than Valentine's Elisa that we just saw earlier. And this is just off type, right? This doesn't even have to be super effective. Right, wherever you go, you're dropping 2.3 mil on a sync on the unit, right? And yeah, obviously more if you are super effective. The Valentine's Elise one is calculated assuming super effective, right? Taking out the innate, super effective multiplier, but just not the multiplier, but like the super effective itself, right? So you have super powered in there, among other things. But bro, this is pretty freaking good. And if you're thinking, well, why is Roark higher than like Chantal, man? Come on, right? Roark does, he's still not complete mitigation on recoil, so he does still have a downside of still doing some damage to himself on the head smash, right? In comparison to Chantal, well, kinda, but like Chantal also does damage to herself because she burns herself to get like gritty up, so they both do damage to themselves, man, every time they attack. And Roark just straight up is better than Chantal, I guess, right? And again, also works very, very, very well with the new Singsu Diantha being a physical damage healer. Roark is gonna cook, man. Just unfortunately does not have that striker EX, right? Which, I mean, if you want to say, oh, because Valentine's Lisa has striker EX, I'm gonna put Valentine's Lisa, which is fine. I mean, look, man, you guys could put whatever you want on your list, okay? If you want Valentine's Elisa as the strongest unit this update, you're free to do so, okay? All right. So, anyways, moving on. Next up, we got the new and improved main lean, which is great. Yeah, I mean, it was always again one of the better 3-star, 4-star Sumbul Gasha units, right? And it got better, man. It got better. You got the on roll and rock smash, which is guaranteed defense buffs there for physical support. That's always nice to see. Against fighting types stages specifically, you have better survivability now. Pep Rally is great, right? Precision Pals can be useful as well, even though she does have the sure hit thing, but just in case. Certain stuff could help her tank a bit. Right, Natural Remedy is always good to have, so it's a nice grid, man. It's a nice grid on an already decent unit. So yeah, Maylene solid, man. Maylene solid. Next up, I'd say probably the Lodge Morty, which I do also like quite a bit as well, right? This Lodge Morty is it's a nice little no support EX support. Yeah, it's a nice support, again, no support EX, but outside of that, right, you got you have team speed, crit, and special attack buffs. That's just fantastic. Love that stuff personally, right? And It's a 2-gauge move, but it's not like a terrible 2-gauge move. You got 2 swag bags on Ominous Wind, so you know you have the chance to get the Omni boosts, which are nice as well. And then you got some of the standard nice nice to have support / tank stuff in the grid that you can pick up as well, right? Stuff like sync or healing if you're syncing with them. Yeah, healthy healing, quick cure, antitoxin, right? They're just pretty regular, not super interesting, but really nice to have stuff, right? Then you got like for his evasion as well. You get Ridicure maybe. As well, fail forward, whatever. So no, he's a pretty good free support. Yeah, he's kind of like the like the Lodge Dawn we got last month as well, right? Just again, doesn't do anything like too crazy, just very standard but solid and good. Next, I'd say we'd have the Lodge Elisa, not Lodge Elisa, regular Elisa, right? Which is also getting a Synchro expanded, and it's a decent one. I wouldn't, again, it's not like Chris level, but still pretty nice, pretty nice. You got Critical Eye, which solves her crit issue, which is great. Stand Fast 9 as well, solves a recoil issue. Bronze Sync gives her an extra bit of boost on her sync. Fleet Feet 2 is nice to give her faster speed buffs, right? So just really great stuff here. Obviously the extra plus 20 attack is always going to be nice. It just would have been a bit better, if maybe instead of the Bronze Sync 5 or the Fleet Feet 2, maybe she could have gotten a bit more buffs on her DPS, I'd say, right? Would have been great, but otherwise, I mean, these aren't terrible either, right? She still has a really nice electric sync, which is good. So yeah, Lisa got a solid little buff over here. Moving on, next we got Sycamore with a power boost, right? I was gonna say last month, but like it's still freaking January. So this month he got the 6-star EX, which was great for him, and then now he got this power boost with the grid expansion. A lot of people don't like it, which I understand, right? I sympathize, because, you know, again, like I mentioned before, you didn't really get everything I hoped for. Is it on a different one? Did they make a different one? Yeah, they made a different one. All right, that's fine. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just an easy person to satisfy. Like, they gave me like half of what I wanted, which is good enough. I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, none of his issues really got completely solved, right? He still requires you to bring another unit on the team to buff its crit, which, again, just slightly awkward to bring a support to help buff a support. Just not really great in terms of team building. Although I guess there are, you know, it just doesn't really change anything, right? It just doesn't really fundamentally change anything. Because, again, if you want to seriously run Sycamore, right, you still need this guy's crit to be maxed out, which in that case is either you bring a crit support or you just shoehorn him into a team that has a damage healer or tech unit that buffs team's crit, like a Singsu Mei or Lyra or whatever, right, that also has like Dire Hit All Plus, even though they're not a support. So again, this just doesn't change anything. For, like, you know, maybe some unserious runs with Sycamore, you can maybe gamble on that 50-50 crit, right? So yeah, again, it's better than nothing, man. You know, at least when not selfishly trying to use it for himself to get the Horn Leech heals, at least he could top off teammates that have only +2 crit, right? And you don't want to really waste energy on their grids to get an MP refresh for whatever crit buffs they have. So I mean, it's still good, right? It's still definitely a positive. So it's like, yeah, I can't max out his own crit, but he can max out someone else's crit. Look, as much as he is, you know, a fantastic self-healing, you know, vampire tank, he's still a support. He still has a job to do in terms of helping buff his teammates' stats, which now he does a bit better with this, right? And then Team Beef Up, you know, helps as well, again, with his own damage with Horn Leech. Again, he could do it previously with Team Shout, but now obviously more efficient, or less, it's still RNG, but like less as much RNG. And I think like Quick Care is always nice to have. Free Revenge, I mean, you can use it in certain scenarios, but I don't personally care too much about this one. I mean, it's kind of whatever. It's just, you know, nothing against Note. I just feel like Sycamore in most cases, even though he is like a 3-gauge damage dealer, right? Like he should be good enough on gauges. He's really fast base speed wise. You know, he maxes out like your gauges on sync. He maxes out your team's speed on sync. He has movie acceleration on his train to move. Like, so yeah, you don't have to worry about like again, it's, you know, in some cases, would you like that? Sure, maybe, but on the other hand, maybe not. You know, you could save the baggage of Free Revenge for, you could spend that 5 energy somewhere else maybe. So yeah, Sycamore, nice little boost. I really don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Again, not perfect, but I'll take it, man. I just have low expectations. Next up is the Valentine's Mallow, which is nice. I like this unit. Some people don't like it. I like it. I'm pretty sure this Valentine's Mallow, if I check my videos, yeah, it has like the least amount of views of all the, which is understandable for multiple reasons. Obviously in the dev letter, we already talked about some of the kit. Maybe it's partially that, and you know, maybe it's not as hype although Elisa got a decent amount, or maybe I released it a bit too late. Sometimes the algorithm, I could blame this. So I'm not saying this is my, you know, Post's YouTube channel view counts are definitive, you know, metrics of scientific metrics of how hype people are for a specific, you know, I'm not saying that, but I don't know, people don't seem to give this unit too much attention, but I think it's nice. I like it. There's nice things in it. First of all, you know, if anything else, it's a max crit buffer, which is always good, right? Max crit buffing support is always nice to have. And then, like, it's a unit that could, you know, it's a support that isn't a cone after using its buffing stuff, right? You go debuff the opponent's, you know, special defense. And then, you know, it got solid physical defense buffs, right? Again, I don't like how they make moves like this, but I mean, it's still all right. And then it's got like a billion ways to heal itself, billion ways to healing like the team as well, right? Among other things. I don't know, I like this unit, man. Oh, I do apologize though, in the video earlier, which is why, you know, all those videos are just my first impressions, right? Like literally as a Datamined drops, right? So you know, the thing with the Liza Anabel move uses, and this one was, it is initial synchro healing, right? And it's not synchro healing. If it was like, it was, you know, if it was just like synchro healing 2, that would have been fantastic. I mean, initial synchro healing 2 is definitely not as good for you know, multiple reasons. First of all, you only use it once, but also assuming you do sync with your support EX as like your first sync, right? Generally your team doesn't hasn't taken too much damage yet, right? Especially considering the opponent hasn't synced. So if they're not a team, if the opponent doesn't have too many AoE moves outside of your tank, probably most of the units haven't really taken much damage. So that's definitely, you know, definitely not as good as I initially mistakenly thought, right? But also when we were looking over it on Game Press on the night of, it does have like 40% of the in terms of heals, which I believe is incorrect. I think the Palmatools has it right. Oops, that's not it. I think Palmatool has it right at 20%, just because Diantha's is initial synchro healing 1, and that's 10%. So this one should theoretically be 20%. So yeah. Actually, never mind. I just checked. I just double checked in game. Initial synchro healing 1 should be 20%. So the 40% heal is probably the correct one. Anyways, I'll let the pomade tool folks know about it. See if they're if they could fix that. Yeah, but yeah, this should be 40%. 40% should, assuming again, it could be another case of, you know, New Year's Dawn, right? But it should be 40%, right? If it tracks with initial synchro healing 1, right? And how other passives behave. So anyways, again, like, you know, even though it is the only first time, like, you know, Team Fist Bump 9 it heals the team every single time it attacks. It's not a lot, it's just the Blastoise one, right? Anyways, regardless, just a great, you know, max crit buffing, really cool healing tank that could also debuff the opponent's special defense and speed when it's done, you know, using its buffing stuff. So it's, again, it's not a cone. It could also, you know, confuse, flinch, whatever, right? All that stuff. So I don't know. Again, not a unit that's not getting a lot of attention, and you know, I'm not saying it's like, you know, one of the top tier supports or whatever, but I think it's pretty good, right? Especially for a legendary gauntlet. So next up, probably the Anabel, right? Probably the Anabel, and I like this Anabel. I honestly like this Anabel, and look, Anabel and like the next two units, you could probably like flip their positions, because I feel like her and the next two coming up are all, you know, pretty close. But yeah, she's a good unit. Wait, did I just say I like this unit? That was a mistake. I don't like this unit. Well, look, I love Anabel. I love Anabel, but it's a good kit, but I'm not a fan personally, just because I don't know, it's just not very unique. It's not very original. I mean, the kit itself is not okay. It all just comes back to, I don't like that they paid her with Snorlax, which again, it makes sense. It's her, it is her like main ace Pokemon, but like whatever. Anyways, I mean, the kit itself, it's definitely nice, right? It's definitely nice. I got a lot of great things going for it. First of all, you got, you know, the headbutt at the aggravation on headbutt for flinch, which is nice. It's always nice to have a support that can flinch, right? Also instantly makes her not a cone. And then you got a lot of these field effects, reflect. You got crit defense, status defense, special damage reduction, right? And then on top of that, you know, when there is a field effect, you get 20% more with these stats. Although you get 3 and 1, and they all come in and expire at the same time. So maybe it was spread out a bit more, so you could. Although honestly, you probably would have field effects up the entire time anyways, right? Considering it's like, you know, you got 2 reflects here, and then like you could replenish them with your max move with a GMAX replenish anyways. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, she probably would have that 20% for most battles, right? Mostly, maybe, unless it's like super long. But yeah, most time you should probably have it. And on top of that, you have some offensive buff. It's not great. You have guaranteed +2 crit buffs, assuming you don't get an MP refresh here, right? You at least have +2 crit buffs and +4 physical attack buffs. If you can get that MP refresh, it's not a great chance, right? It's look, MP refresh 2 in of itself is not that terrible of a chance, but on a 1 MP move, that's a bit rough to get, right? So that could potentially be not great. But you know, you got other stuff. Synchro healing is good to have. This is not that big of a deal, I feel personally, but I mean, sure, if you want. Ally field effect accelerate is definitely nice, although it is, unfortunately, I think 4 out of 5, right? Also synchro healing's 5. Oh man. Okay, she is unfortunately a bit expensive to get like the really good stuff. You know, catalytic acceleration is also great. Bro. Oh man. Okay. Look, she has a lot of nice stuff. A lot of them does unfortunately get locked behind 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 for her, which sucks. But yeah, outside of that, it's a nice tank. It's a nice tank that can have some buffs, right? Offensively as well. It's just like, here's the thing though, like a lot of her stuff is, oh, I'm like, instead of I'm gonna buff my team's special defense, or I'm gonna buff my team's physical defense, right? Look, she does do some of that, right? There's shielding strikes, there's shield the one on reflect, but like instead of just straight up just doing that, she does like field effects, which again is nice in her case. You get, if you have 4 out of 5, you get this and you know, whatever, right? Her other passive. Again, it's just like in comparison to like straight up, like if for example like the Ampharos we got recently, which is like what, +3 defense, special defense, and like 1 move, right? So you can max out, like it's just in comparison, a lot of units that could probably use some of the multipliers won't get that well as quickly, because again, she does eventually buff all those, but I mean, but that's just a minor complaint. Overall, it's still a good solid unit, right? So can't complain too much here. And again, all the complaints are really just minor complaints, right? Oh, she cost a bit too expensive, right? And whatever. But overall, again, it's nice, solid support. But anyways, next up, probably have Alder, right? Again, you could swap any of these 3, I'd say, and the next one up as well, depending on your own taste, right? Alder got a good expansion. It's got some nice stuff. I ranted about this May thing, which I still don't like, but whatever, man. Like the stuff up here is kind of whatever, but the stuff down here is definitely nice, right? Brain sync, which again, it's you know, you could just pick that up, connect it over, and boom, you go all the way over here. Not that it takes. Not that it's cheaper or whatever, because like you just do like this costs 4, this costs 7, but it's like, it's not like, you know, 7 costs for like nothing. You get extra 20% on your sync, or on your sync, right? Which is not bad if you are synced with them. If you aren't synced with them, then that's irrelevant, right? I mean, if you're not synced with them, then this is also relevant. But yeah, at least you get Fierce Brain, which is nice, and he was always a great damage dealer to begin with. If only his zone setter would debuff special defense. But you know, regardless, it's a nice unit. You know, even if you discount the new 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 expansion for Alder, he's still really good. All right, and obviously he did get some stuff. At least Fierce Brain is definitely something you want to pick up, right? Like all the other stuff could be situational. This could be situational if you're not syncing, obviously. This stuff is, I don't even know if it's situational. It's just not. Okay, it can be situational at least, right? Impervious can also be situational, but Fierce Brain at least is definitely a nice solid 30% damage boost to pick up. So yeah, that's really nice. Next one is Leon. Leon, do I like his, you know, GMAX buff? Whatever, right? Do I like his power boost that much? Honestly, not really. It's just that like it's not that much. Also not sure why Pomade Tools hasn't updated that one either. I'll let them know as well. Oh man, my guy STDK slacking a bit. It's alright. Obviously appreciate him for making this the tool and all. Yeah, it's just like, you know, look, do not get me wrong. Do not misconstrue me for advocating 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 for freaking Master Affairs. I do not want that to happen. But they also gave him, you know, a few of the expansions on the sides that you get, you know, for, you know, to 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, whatever, right? That would have been nice, right? But, you know, even with, again, same thing with Alder, even if you didn't get this expansion, still a really good unit. I do feel like Leon is a pretty underrated unit, just because, you know, again, there's just a lot better fire type damage dealers nowadays, and you know, he's old. People don't care too much about for older units, I guess, but no, he's still really good, and now he just gets like basically an extra sync move that he could use once every battle, right? And yeah, Yeah. I don't like his max movement. I just would have preferred it just be like max flare instead. Just cause like his GMAX wildfire is like, oh yeah, it's like DOT, fire DOT, which this isn't that much. But yeah. It's all right. It's all right. You could switch these three in any order, honestly. I feel, right, but personally, maybe something like this. I'd probably go with something like that. But anyways, all right, moving on to the final two down here. Oh, whoops, I forgot about Viola EX. I mean, she got an EX. She's a decent. She nukes decently, I believe. It's like 2 point something million. I don't know. 2 million. Yeah, that's not bad. Although, is this updated with EX? Because I'd imagine it'd be more. Never mind. Runner says it's updated. Okay. I mean, it's not bad, but for an EX, it's kind of mid for an EX, unfortunately. Anyways, well, sure. I mean, I like Viola's kit. It's a nice base kit. Can take a few hits, special defensively, can debuff opponents. Special attack as well. Maybe like over like Valentine's Liza or something. I don't know. Okay. Moving on. All right. The last two. All right, the last two, I'd say, big units in this month. These two, right? So I would say it's more of a preference thing either as well, right? You could maybe say Singsu Lysander's better, or you could say Emma's better. And initially I was thinking Emma, but I kind of changed my mind. Because there are a few things that is not going too great for Emma in comparison to Lysander. And they are, first of all, they're both great units, so it doesn't matter which one. They're both fantastic units. But I'd say maybe Lysander. And yes, you can only use his beam move once, which is true. Talked about that quite a few times now. But both of them are just great units, man. But before comparing them, right, and going over why I'd have Lysander over Emma, let's just go over both of them, because again they're both great, right? This B Hydro Pump is insane. Again, it's only once, but it's incredibly powerful. Not only because it's one of the top, damaging like regular moves in the entire game, but obviously after that you get the +3 or up to +3, I guess, right? Up to +3 special move up next for him. Then you got super effective up next as well. And then you got free move up next as well. And it's AoE with no split damage. It's just incredibly powerful move, obviously. But aside from that, right, his Steam Eruption, right, this is not counting the up to 3 special move up next and super effective up next that he could get on the Steam Eruption after his B Hydro Pump. So like you get one massive AoE B Hydro Pump, and then you also get one massive Steam Eruption as well afterwards, right? Well, you can get one, and then even when those are gone, it still hits very powerful, right? This is like, yeah, this is really close to Champion Serena with water rebuff. And Lysander over here is without water rebuff himself, right? So obviously he'd hit even harder than Champion Serena with water rebuff himself. And in that case, right, he would be, well, he'd be what, the strongest water type damage dealer in the game, more than Champion Serena, more than Dojo Gloria, more than Archie, more than, I don't know, what else is there? I mean, I guess those are like the big ones, right? Which is pretty crazy, because this is a very competitive, like, this is one of the types that have, you know, some of the strongest damage dealers, right? Like, look at how many million plus damage dealers there are. Look at how many million plus damage dealers there are, right? In water type. And, well, he's the best of them. He's the best of them. And that's just pretty freaking powerful, right? That is really, 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 really powerful. So, yeah, he's great, right? And 3.7 million sync nuke as well, striker nuker, right? Obviously, you know, you can't compare him to like the tech nukers, right? But for like a striker nuker, 2.7 million is a lot as well. So yeah, and then he also has the fire type coverage as well, that also could potentially be useful if for some reason you need that, right? I don't think they got Calc, but you know, which I don't blame it. Again, it's not like that important, but he does have that option as well, right? So yeah, he's just a great powerful unit that is pretty easy to use as well, in terms of getting his own stuff. And yeah, he's just really freaking strong, man. really strong unit. Even if this is only used once, the steam eruption itself is just very powerful, right? And again, also really nice heat wave there too. And then Emma, on the other hand, definitively the strongest poison type damage dealer in the game. Finally, you know, taking out that fake poison type damage dealer, Sensuchivani. Right, like this is ludicrous numbers on this B cross poison, which in Emma's case she could actually spam, right? She could actually spam these very powerful cross poisons. So that's just really nice, and has an equally as powerful sync nuke here as well, right? For a striker. So yeah, Emma's really good. Her multipliers, all that stuff, are relatively easy to get as well. Also really good on speed, which is great, and gauges, which I love. You got the extra potion stuff, which is great. So yeah, both of them, regardless which one you think is better, both of them are fantastic units. As for why I do think Lysander might be a bit better is Emma is a bit more restrictive. Right? Because in stages where you can't poison the opponent, right? Like a lot of legendary gauntlets, a lot of gauntlet stages, they either are immune to poison, right? Or they eventually, you know, after a few times recovering from poison, they will eventually become immune to poison. And that is a bit of an issue, right? Because once they are immune to poison, you can't use Beat Cross Poison at all, and then your only other damage dealing move is Poison Fang. But again, if you're saying, oh, Puz, what about freaking, you know, Lysander? What if it's a stage that you can't burn? That hurts Lysander too, right? Yeah, it does hurt Lysander because you can't use your B Hydro Pump. But if you can't use his B Hydro Pump, he still has Steam Eruption, which again is still one of the top water type damage dealing moves in the game, right? Still incredibly powerful move in Steam Eruption, or even if you want to use Heat Wave, I guess. So that definitely is one knock on Emma, unfortunately. Is just, again, just stages you can't poison, because you literally, the opponent has to be poisoned or else you can't use this. And again, like, your other only move is just Poison Fang, which is not that powerful, unfortunately. Right? So that does slightly suck. And the other thing is Lysander does have better partners, right? Lysander does have better teams than what's her, Emma, right? Emma, which, you know, the Poison Zone setter in the game, obviously Fall Iris, is unfortunately more special based than physical, right? So you know, if you are running a team with them, you'd have to go for, you'd have to, unless you go for someone that could debuff both physical / special defense. Like you probably would have to go for special defense debuffing, a third unit that could debuff opponent's special defense, which, hey, you know, pick up that new Valentine's Mallow, right? You could do that. As a sport. And obviously in this case, then Emma doesn't benefit from that, right? In comparison to Lysander, obviously Lysander being a special damage dealer, you know, some of the best water type slash rain units are all special supports, right? I mean, obviously Chris sings with Chris and Suicune gives, you know, rain special move up next. Kyogre's master passive buffs special moves, all that stuff. So yeah, even, you know, to an extent, not what's his face, or Champion Serena, or even Champion Kalen's more physical oriented, right? But Champion Serena also with the special master passive, right? So he does have much better teams. Also, like, yeah, like for example, in Emma's case, right? If you are running a team, it's gonna be Fall Iris, Emma, and a support. But with Volcanion over here, you could run, you know, Sings with Chris, or I guess champion what's his Calum, right? One of those, and then the other slot you could throw in Champion Serena or Kyogre or whatever. You go down the line, right? A lot of obviously fantastic water type damage dealers, which just makes a better team than being Fall Iris, right? Unfortunately. But if you want to say Emma's better, that's fine too, right? But yeah, anyways, that's been this one, I guess. So be all in, my guys. Thank the comments below. Like, enjoy the videos from our channel for more Pokemon content again too. Keep in mind, this stuff for like this just for fun. There's no actual purpose, right? And disclaimer, obviously, please read that this is not who you should pull for or whatever, right? Because I'm pretty sure, you know, most people would want more help on like poison type than water again. But yeah, good month of units. Even some of the weaker ones on this list are still nice, right? And great upgrades as well, free upgrades here and there. So yeah, good stuff. All right, have fun, folks. I'll see you guys in the next one.